video. A YouTube video. This is first and second grade science. We are finishing up lesson 1.5 and we started lesson 1.6. Lesson 5 yesterday was page 12. We finished the first part on page 12. We finished our experiment. I just want to explain a couple of things to you. If you didn't fill in this paper the right way, hi Casey. These are observations of what the dry ingredient looked like. These are observations of what the wet ingredient looked like after we added the water. And the sticky test predictions. What is a prediction? Okay, you don't just write yes, 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 yes here. You are going to predict which ones will be sticky enough to be a glue and which ones you believe will not be sticky enough. So next to the saltwater one, I wrote no, or I put an X because I did not think it was going to be sticky. Then after we did the experiment, then you fill in the last column that says sticky test results. This is what actually happened. Your test results are what actually happened. Everybody, look at your vocabulary, science vocabulary list. We've added some words to our original list. You need to start talking and using your vocabulary words when you talk about science, okay? So we observed the ingredients. We observed the ingredients. We observed our ingredients. We made a substance. We made a mixture. Your substance and your mixture is the same thing. We made a mixture and we had a substance that we were going to test out as glue, as a new glue. We designed our goal of what we wanted the glue to be used for. We had to design a specific glue. Then we are recording. After we observed, we recorded. We made our predictions. All of our words are listed out on the vocabulary. We made predictions. We made claims. We made claims. That was a new vocabulary word, claim. We made claims. So, that was lesson 1.5, page 12. That most of you sent it to me. Not everybody, but most of you did. If you did not send it to me, please scan it and email it to me. Thank you. We did yesterday, page 13. This is moving on to lesson 1.6. We're still going to talk about glue and experiments and testing and predictions. How to set up an experiment, how to record it, how to observe it and then record it, how to make predictions, and how to put in our test results. We are still using the same idea. So, number 13 said, how can you make sure your test is tested fairly? So what we meant by that was everything the same? Did we put the same amount of glue on each paper? Did we put the same amount of beans? Did we shake each paper the same number of times? It all has to be fair. It has to be a fair and equal test. And then you're supposed to draw a picture of the test, that it was fair. Okay, so that was a quick review. Moving on, we are on lesson 1.6. Lesson 1.6. Okay, we're not doing a page in the notebook yet. What we are doing today is we are going to make a bar graph. Leonie, I got your science homework. Okay, can I go on? Evaluating evidence and summarizing results. Yes?
What page are you working on?
No page yet, just, you're going to just listen. We are evaluating evidence and summarizing results. There is no page in your book, no page yet. I'm going to ask you a question. What is your claim? Think about that question. What is our claim? What claim are we making with the glue? Think about the experiment we did, and we made these different mixtures. We mixed ingredients together. We glued beans onto paper. And what claim were we trying to make? Think about that. Our claim, what is your claim? I'm putting it on the YouTube video. What is your claim? It's on the YouTube video. And I'm going to show it to you here. I'm also going to type it out for you. What is our claim? Our claim is our answer to the question of which ingredients are the stickiest, or I'm going to say which mixture or substance works the best. So that's basically saying the same thing. We were claiming, our claim, our new vocabulary word claim, add this to your vocabulary words if it's not there yet, claim. Our claim is the answer to our question of which ingredients are the stickiest, which mixture or substance works the best. So we had the dry ingredients, and then we added water. So ingredient plus ingredient made our mixture. So now we had this mixture. We had flour and water, we had salt and water, we had baking soda and water. We had 3 different mixtures, and the claim we were making was which glue is going to be the best glue to use, because we want to be able to stick the beans onto the paper. So, if you remember the first test I did back at school, we did an Elmer's glue. Remember the first experiment we did back at school, we did Elmer's glue and we did a foam glue. That was the first test we did. There's no page yet, Anna. The second glue that we did was the bean test over here. This was Gorilla Glue and this was clear glue, and the beans are still stuck on, not falling off. And then we made our own mixtures. That was the flour, the salt, and the baking soda. So, please mute yourself. What is our evidence? Find the word evidence in your vocabulary words. What is our evidence? Our claim is which one is the stickiest. Our evidence are our test results. Examples of possible claims are, let me see, I claim I'm going to say that the flour is the stickiest. That is my claim. I'm sure a lot of you also agree with me. Flour is the stickiest. That's my claim. I'm gonna say that the salt water was not very sticky. My claim is that the salt and water mixture was not very sticky. No, not at all. That is my claim. I can also say that the baking soda was not sticky at all. Miss Emily Barrera did the cornstarch at home, and she said that it was sticky, but not as sticky as the flour. So, our evidence is our test, is our actual test results. Not our predictions. Our predictions is what we thought was going to happen. Then we did the actual test, and then the actual test showed our evidence. And then with our evidence, we can say whether our claim is true or false. My claim was that the flour was the stickiest mixture. The flour and water mixture was the stickiest, so my claim would be true. If I said that the salt and water mixture was the stickiest, then my claim would be false. So we are going to use our claim, our predictions, our evidence to say if to see if we
Miss Frank?
yes. Did anyone else have the same claim? No, you don't have to. I want you just to listen. I just want you to listen and take it in. You should have your vocabulary words with you. And if you want to write the definitions of the words that I'm talking about, you can on a, take another piece of paper. But I want you right now during the lesson just to be paying attention to what I'm saying, and then you can go back into the videos and the chats if you want to write the stuff down. But don't take your attention off of what I'm doing in the class time. To start writing everything. You can write stuff afterwards so that you can remember it. But these are the things I want you to remember. Evidence, claim, we're not on a page yet. We're not on a page yet. So I'm sure that some of you or most of you had the same claim as me that the flour was going to be the stickiest one. Did we all have the same evidence? Well, we all did the test together. If you all took my answers, then yes, we would all have the same evidence. Did anyone have a different claim or different evidence? I think we're all in agreement. Okay, so point out that engineers look for patterns when they analyze their data. So what patterns can we see when analyzing our data? That's a question for you. What patterns do we see? Well, we just compared our data to see which ingredients worked to stick beans to the paper and which didn't. Noticing which ingredients work best helps us make claims that are supported by evidence. This is what engineers do too. So that's what we just went over that engineers look for patterns when they analyze their data, and they compare their data to see, what were we looking for? We were looking to see which ingredients worked best to support, work best to help us make claims, work best to help us make claims, and support by evidence. Okay, I'm gonna repeat all of that so that you guys can understand it. I'm gonna show you on the video also. If you want to write it down, you can take it off the video. Okay, so I don't know if you can see that, but I'm typing a lot of it out. So we compared our data to see which ingredients worked to stick the beans to the paper and which didn't. Not noticing which ingredients worked best helps us make claims that are supported by evidence. This is what engineers do. You've just finished evaluating the information you gathered. When you evaluate, you judge how useful or accurate something is. Okay, unmuting, thank you. Yes, Casey, go to the bathroom. Okay, you guys do not have to ask me to go to the bathroom. Just leave your computer on, do not get out of the meeting, just go to the bathroom and come back, okay? Okay, I'm going to repeat what we just did so that you can start to learn it. Okay, we just finished evaluating. Rebecca, you need to mute Rebecca. We just finished evaluating the information that we gathered, right? We just finished evaluating the information that we gathered. When you evaluate, you judge how useful or accurate something is. I want you guys to write it after I'm done, okay? Because I don't have time to wait for everybody to write everything right now. That's why I'm typing it in the chat for you. It will all be posted in the chat. When you go into your subject, it'll all be listed on the chat. So yes, after the lesson, you guys should write this down so that you can study it. Because this is what we're going to be doing this whole lesson is we evaluated our information that we gathered. When you evaluate, I'm going to write the definition. Evaluate, you judge. Yes, after the lesson, you should all write this down and keep it with your definitions, with your vocabulary words. You judge how useful or accurate something is. Yes, because our lessons are 45 minutes now instead of an hour and a half, you are going to, you'll write some of this after it's over, okay? Hi, Casey. You'll have to put it on a separate piece of paper and keep it with your vocabulary words, okay? I know, William, who is this? Oh, yes. 65. Okay, bye. Can someone tell William that, he needs to join the meeting? You cannot call me. You need to join the meeting. Okay, so just get a blank piece of paper. You should have with your science book, with your science notebook, you should have extra paper and you should have your vocabulary words. Okay? But don't write right now, just listen. Engineers evaluate their results as they test new things they have designed. So we started off this whole lesson with, this whole unit with, we wanted to design a new glue for school. We wanted to design a new glue for school and we needed to make some design goals. We needed to make some design goals to say, why are we making a glue? Design goals on your vocabulary. Why are we making a new glue? For what purpose? Well, we need to design a glue for our school because we need glue to glue the costumes together for the play, right? That's what we said. So we had to think of some ingredients that we could possibly use. We're not on a page yet, Anna. You're just listening. If you want to look at page 12, you can look at page 12. If you didn't finish page 12, you should finish page 12. We're not on a page yet. We're not up to the activity yet. I have to tell you guys, the next page we do in the book, it is not coming up today. I don't think so. We don't have a page every day in the book. This, I'm going to tell you, this is lesson 1.6, activity 3. This is our activity. Our activity is learning what these words are and what we have done with our experiment. No page, Anna. You can look at page 12 in your book if you want to. We are learning our vocabulary words. This is what we're doing. We are talking about what we did with our experiment. We evaluated, we recorded, we observed, we came up with a design goal. We came up with ingredients and we mixed them together and we have a mixture, a substance, an evidence. We did a test. We observed, we had properties, we had claims. This is what we're doing today. We're learning our vocabulary words. Yes.
Can you put the vocabulary again?
Yeah, you should all have your own list of vocabulary words. You have these, Emily? I'll type these out again for you after, okay? It's going to be on your Microsoft Teams video and YouTube video, okay? Okay, so you did mute yourself. Okay, so we have done, these results are evidence you can use as you design your glue. We tested, we observed, we recorded, we have evidence, we made claims. Okay, this is my question to you. How does 1 second. Let me tell William. William, hi. You need to join the meeting, okay? Go into science and press join the meeting. Join now, okay? Bye. Okay, guys, you gotta just join the meeting, okay? Yes. What? Yes.
What page are we in?
Not on a page. You are going to write down what I'm writing in the chat, and you're gonna answer the questions that are in the chat. How do engineers use evidence? You're gonna take blank paper. Blank, get blank paper. There is no page in the notebook for today. No notebook page for today. There is not a notebook page for every single day of class. There is not a page in the notebook for every single day of class. You're going to write what I put in the chat. I put questions in the chat. My next question is, how do engineers use evidence? My next question is, how do engineers use evidence? How do engineers use evidence? I put it in the chat. How do engineers use evidence? Well, how are we going to use our evidence? Just Genesis, you're going to mute yourself. How did we use our evidence? What did we do with our evidence? Well, we can use our evidence in a lot of ways, right? One of the ways is to help them make predictions. So the first way is, how do engineers use evidence? Helps to use, you're going to put this on a separate piece of paper. Helps us to make predictions. That's the first way. So, let me just talk about predictions for a second. What is a prediction? What is a prediction? When we make a prediction, we're not just taking a guess. Not just taking a guess. I'll explain why. We're not just taking a guess. I'm typing it in the chat. Yes, I am.
Should we put it in one paper, and what you said, like number one, help us to make like that in that paper?
Yes. You're gonna write it down, the question and then the answer.
Hey, when you put all of these things in the chat, so I wrote it down in a paper, and when you put it helps us to make like that. Should we put it in the same paper, or should we get another paper and write it down?
No, you can just continue in the lesson, continue with,
Don't
continue with the same paper, and then when you get to the bottom of the paper, then you take a new paper. Just kind of make like your own like book about this activity. So you'll have like a couple of sheets of paper. Just continue on the way it is listed in the chat is the way you can list it out on your paper. So when they make a prediction, they're not just taking a guess out of thin air. They're not just making up a silly guess. When a scientist, when an engineer makes a prediction, they actually have some knowledge and some experience and some thinking that they're doing in order to make that prediction, right? So we kind of know that like salt water is not like super sticky. But if you bake a cake, you know that like when you make that mixture for the cake, it gets really thick and like kind of gluey. And there's a lot of flour in a cake mix. So we have some information to go on. We're not just making a guess out of thin air. So that's what the engineers do. When they make a prediction, it's a pretty good guess. It's not just a clueless guess. It's based on some information that they have in their head. So they use evidence in a lot of ways. One way is to help them make predictions. Remember that when engineers make predictions, they don't just guess. The engineers think about what they know, what they have observed, and about evidence they have. And then, and then they
Miss Klein.
yes, and then yes, and then they give their Rebecca, just listen to what I'm doing. It'll make sense once I finish it. They have observed about evidence they have, and then they give their best idea about what might happen. So, in conclusion, when we make a prediction, our prediction is actually a very good guess. It's a very good guess. It's based on information we know. It's not a silly random prediction. So this is all part of what engineers do. Explain that after engineers conduct tests, they use the evidence that they have gathered to make a claim, to state what they have learned or what they think will happen.
What was the answer again? Of the first one?
I don't know what question you're talking about. Which question?
The first one. The question that you sent at 12:19.
12:19. It's in the chat. Go up in the chat and go back.
What's the answer?
Read. You have to read me the question.
The question.
Which, you gotta read me the question, I don't remember what you're talking about. But we are talking about the experiment, and
The one that the parents can we see when
patterns,
yeah, that one.
point out that engineers look for patterns when they analyze their data. Engineers notice which ingredients work best, help us make claims that are supported by evidence. So, make,
How did you spell engineers?
guys, I gotta continue on with the lesson, you have to look in the chat, okay? I gotta continue on with the lesson. I only have a couple of more minutes. You just look in the chat.
Okay.
Thank you. Stay muted, okay? Stay muted.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay.
So, engineers conduct tests. They use the evidence that they've gathered to make a claim, to state what they have learned or what they think will happen. So, engineers make claims, predictions, and they make claims. After engineers conduct tests, they use the evidence they've gathered to make a claim. Okay, going on. Think about another prediction. What if we said that the cornstarch, which we didn't have, and we tested the cornstarch, let's say that was the stickiest one. That would lead us to different claims because we had different evidence. So it's very important, the evidence that you get, what you observe, what you record, because that will lead you to your claim. If you have the wrong evidence, you'll have the wrong claim. So everything you do needs to follow in suit. If we make a mixture with fewer or different ingredients, will the mixture still be the stickiest? That's something we could test. These are different predictions. This is just what engineers do. They revise their predictions based on new evidence. So if you keep on testing and changing the mixture, then you get new predictions, new claims, and new evidence. So, what they're saying in a nutshell is that if you change it up, if you do other testing, if you change your experiment, then you need to make new predictions, new mixtures, new ingredients, new claims, and then your answers are going to be different based on your new evidence. That's what they're saying. But you guys need to learn your vocabulary. I'm going to say study vocabulary words because you need to learn these words. And then it will be much easier once you know the words. So you need to revise. So I'm going to end science because it's 12:44 and it ends at 12:45. I want you to study your vocabulary words and I want you to write out on separate paper the chat from today.
Miss Kalai, when you put everything in the chat, do I have to send it to you?
No. No, just write it out. And I want you to study your vocabulary words because then when I give you a vocabulary test, then you're going to need your notes to study from. If you don't write it out, you're not going to have any notes to study for your vocabulary test. So take all your words and make sure you have all the definitions so that you can study for your vocabulary test, okay? I don't know exactly what day that will be, but I'm gonna turn off this recording now. And then I'm going to invite you, I'm going to turn off.
This time.
Yes.
Do we need to write all of that?
Yeah, I wrote everything in the chat. So you're going to add to your vocabulary words your definitions. I wrote out the definitions for our test, right? So our test, our vocabulary words are, I'm going to go into the chat. You're going to have a list of vocabulary words, and you're going to study them for your vocabulary test. Properties, test, observe, ingredients, mixture, evidence, substance, design goals, record. Tell William he has to join the meeting. He has to join the meeting, not the phone call. Design goals, record, predict, predictions. Make sure you have all of your vocabulary words. Predict, predictions, pattern, engineer, claim, cause and effect, engineer, observations, observe and observations. These are your vocabulary words. You guys need to write the definitions. Number 1, write your definitions. Number 2 is write out the chat on separate paper and study it. I put everything in the chat that we were going over today. We went over what engineers do. This is lesson 1.6, activity 3, first and second grade, on Wednesday, April 8th. I'm going to turn off my YouTube